Hey everybody, welcome to another week of kgateway community meeting. We are just about to get started. If you can add your name, that would be great. And if you have any topics, feel free to add it to the agenda or make a change if you don't make a suggestion if you don't have permission to. I believe we're excited to have Nina today to give us an AI Gateway update. I don't know if there's any other topic on the agenda. One thing I can quickly mention, share before we get to Nina, is I've been running some scalability tests with kgateway with 10,000 routes and 10,000 backends. I'm hoping to publish a blog on that today. So I will definitely share with the channel once we have it. So very excited to see kgateway actually performs very well, where all the routes is coming instantly. Sorry, I heard a beep. Oh, that was you, joining. Okay, thanks to whoever admit him. Yeah, so I will let you all know when that's published. Actually, Yuva, thank you to you being reviewed the blog and providing the test so that we can easily test a bunch of routes and backends. Daniel wants to join. Let me make sure he's admitted. Okay, Jenny, just come. All right, so that's the update on the kgateway scalability. I do hope one day we will be able to do some scalability tests as part of the kgateway, either the builds or as part of the release. At the minimum, I know we disabled the performance or scalability test, so I'll put an agenda item on that because I think it's important as we talk about how stable, how scale we are, and it would be feeling sad if we actually don't do that as part of our official builds. All right, with that, I'm going to pass the microphone to Nina to give us an AI update on our AI gateway.
Right. Can you see my screen? Right. There we go.
Yeah, it's coming up. Yes, we can see the doc.
So I think I actually presented on the EP for AI Gateway a while back, but never like did a demo of what features actually got added as part of that EP. So my goal is to kind of go through some of the highlights there and then like kind of talk about what's next, in the pipeline in terms of AI Gateway functionality. So everything I show is going to be like you can go on the docs and actually find it and try it out yourself. So with that, I'm going to first show my kind cluster that I have. It doesn't actually have anything installed because we're going to start from scratch and then, build up from there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've already created a kind cluster. If you're new to kgateway, we have this nifty setup script that lets you set up the kind cluster and like build the local Helm chart and package everything locally. So that was what I ran beforehand. And then I created an AI test namespace just to create all my resources. But like you saw, nothing's actually installed yet. So first I have to apply the gateway APIs. Let me pull up my terminal. So I'm going to apply those, and then we have two Helm charts, so the CRD Helm chart and then the actual gateway, the controller, the control plane. I can't speak today. So I'm going to install both of those. So the CRDs got installed, and our gateway should be coming up now. So we see the gateway is coming up. Give it a second. And you can see actually the image it's using is the one that I built locally, like I mentioned. So that kind script builds this locally and actually loads it in kind, which is kind of nice if you're doing local development. Cool. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is actually set up our gateway. So in order to enable the AI features, one thing you'll notice is I had to set the Helm chart to be AI extensions enabled true. But I also have to define the gateway parameters with the AI extension enabled. So this is like, you don't really need this to get the basic functionality to work. I'm just going to have the additional port exposed and the log level debug in case anything goes wrong. But the main important part is like you need your gateway parameters to be defined with this enabled part. And then we're going to have a new gateway resource. So this is the Kubernetes Gateway API gateway resource that is going to use our kgateway class and reference the gateway parameters that we defined earlier, the ones that have that AI extension enabled. And what this allows you to do is have our XProc server running next to your gateway deployment. So when we apply this, we'll see that the gateway created actually has two containers, one with the actual Envoy proxy, and then the other is the Python XProc that we have for our AI extensions. Cool. And then the last thing I actually have is a listener policy. Again, like in case things go wrong, we can actually debug by adding access logging. So all of the AI gateway functionality, like again, goes through Envoy. So if we configure access logging, it's like a nice way to show off that feature. And also, you know, if anything like is weird, we can actually deep dive and like look at what's happening behind the scenes on the Envoy side. So with that, let's apply those configs. YOLO. Cool. So we saw everything got created. So now we should have a gateway. So let's go back to our K9s, and you can see that this just got created like 11 seconds ago. And like I mentioned, it has two containers. So it has this Envoy wrapper that you know, we're configuring, and then also this AI extensions. That's the new component that usually isn't there. Cool. Okay, so now we have our gateway, but we don't actually have anything configured to route to a real LLM provider. So what I'm going to do is create a backend for OpenAI. This is the backend type that you can use for other things like static or AWS backends, but in this case it has type AI. And here under the AI section, I've actually defined the provider as OpenAI and a reference to the secret I'm going to create. You'll notice that our tests, actually, I copied this example from the tests, are using a mock provider. So as part of the end-to-end tests, we actually apply a mock provider that runs locally in the cluster, where we have mocked responses that fit the OpenAI response. But in this case, I'm actually going to demo like reaching out to the real provider. I have a real API key that I'm going to use. So we're going to see like, a real response back. But if you're curious, that's how our end-to-end tests work without, costing $1 billion. So let me apply that. And then I'll also create the secret actually. So this is just creating a secret called OpenAI secret in the AI test namespace. And that matches our provider secret ref here. So because this is also in the AI test namespace. All right, so now we have a backend, but we still can't actually route to our provider because we need an HTTP route. So I'm going to create this super simple HTTP route. It's going to use the AI gateway we defined earlier. It's going to match on the /OpenAI prefix, and it's going to select the backend that we just applied. So let's try that. Okay, and now we can actually send some traffic. So I'm going to port forward my gateway. So it was on 8080, so that's why I'm using 8080, and then open a new tab. And let's send a request. So let me make this a little bigger. So the request I'm going to send, again, is going to use that OpenAI prefix and just, ask for a joke from the LM provider. So fingers crossed. Okay, so we got a joke back. Why do programmers prefer dark mode? Because light attracts bugs. Very funny. Yeah. So now let's try, looking. So this was just basic routing, right? It was like pretty easy to set up, but there's actually more functionality that kgateway has in terms of the AI routes. We allow users to apply prompt guard policies. So if I send a similar request asking OpenAI for some credit cards for testing, which seems bad, if I send that response, it gives me actually like a make-believe credit card number, but this could be like a real number that it gets from its data. So we want to make sure that this kind of content is guarded against. So we're gonna replace this and mask it with a policy. So I'm going to apply a traffic policy. Again, target ref is going to select that HTTP route that we defined earlier with the OpenAI prefix. And it's going to have two rules, one on the request and one on the response. So first, we're going to test the response. So we have a bunch of built-in regex things that we can match against. So we're going to match the credit card regex, but there's also a couple others that we're going to demo later. And then on that's on the response side. And then on the request side, if the request has phone in the request, it's going to automatically respond with this message. So let me try applying that. And then let's try sending the same exact response as before. So again, like please give me credit cards. So we get the response back, but now you see that the credit card is masked away. So like there's no, the prompt has been guarded against using masking on the response. But we can also, like I mentioned, prompt guard on the request. So if I have a similar request asking for a phone number, it should match this phone number regex and like not actually hit the LLM, but guard on the request side. So let's try that. And we see it immediately returns, and it has that message that we custom defined in the traffic policy. So like in the traffic policy, we set the status code in the message, and we immediately get the response back. Cool. So let's see. So this also works for streaming. So like all of the requests I've been sending have been like basic non-streaming requests. But if I set the streaming mode to true here in the request, you can see that I get a streaming response. So a bunch of data chunks. It's all SSE. And if I do the same thing, so this was like a cloud native joke. Let's figure out what was the joke. It's actually really hard to read. Okay, so why did the Kubernetes cluster go to therapy? Because it had trouble letting go of old containers. Oh, that's kind of sad. Anyway, well, so it did respond. Like, obviously, there's nothing that we'd want to prompt guard there. But if we do the same thing with emails, so emails are a little easier to see because if I ask for a list, they're a little longer. So in the response, like it'll be more obvious when I send this. But you can do the same thing with credit cards. So I send the same, I send the request, my traffic policy is still applied. And now you can see that the emails have been filtered out. So everything that it suggested that fit the email format were filtered out by my prompt guard policy, even in the streaming request. So that's some highlights of like prompt guarding and like basic routing. As we looked at the docs, there's a lot of other features that are really cool that we probably don't have time to delve too deep into, but I did want to call out that you can do function calling here. So you don't need any special traffic policies for this. This works like out of the box. So with the basic routing that we set up earlier, we can call a message that asks for like the current weather, and then provide a tool that says like get weather. And then well, let's try it actually first. So we won't spoil it. So if I send this request, oh no. If I send this request, the response I get is going to be kind of messy, but we can take a look. So you'll notice that it doesn't have any content here, but it does have a tool call. So again, like our proxy is routing it to OpenAI. OpenAI is responding with the correct tool call format. And then if we pretend we had a get weather function that we called, we can send another response with the original request, the tool call, and then the result of the tool call content. So like imagine we called this get weather tool and got the result. This still works through our proxy. So it can handle that tool call and then respond with the formatted response with the final weather. So yeah, so tool calling works. It also works. We have end-to-end tests with like LangChain integration, which is pretty cool. And the last thing I wanted to show before like diving into the future is prompt enrichment. So this is another traffic policy that you can apply. So if we apply this policy, again, applied to the HTTP route, we can append a system prompt to all prompts going through our gateway. So this lets your gateway have control over like the system prompts that are being applied before requests actually get to the LLM provider. So in this case, we're going to have every request that goes through like formatted into CSV format. So what does that mean? Well, actually, let's try sending the request without the prompt card or the formatting. So if I send this request asking for like saying eggs, flour, and sugar, and the price was 5, 3, and 2. If I send that request, you'll see that we get a response from the LLM where it's just like pretending it knows where you're asking for. It's like adding them up for some reason. But if I append this traffic policy, then and I send the same request as before, then you'll see the response is automatically formatted into the CSV format. So that's pretty nice to have like a central way of managing all of the system prompts at the gateway level instead of having users have to append that in code or in the request. So some things I didn't like get a chance to show is I have all the examples I was running with were OpenAI, but we support other LLMs. And this list is always growing. So this is if there's an LLM missing from this list that you like a provider, that's a great way to get involved and contribute. So that was like the main overview of like some of the AI work that got in recently. But on the horizon, we're actually working on the agent gateway integration, which I wanted to show. But before I jump into that, are there like any questions on the the APIs, like how any of the features work? I can do a walkthrough of like where in the code the different parts live.
Yeah, I have one quick question. You demoed using the tools. I think in your example was Get Weather, if I remember correctly. Can I integrate any MCP tools, or is there any type of tools we support or not support as part of the AI gateway function?
You're stealing my thunder, Lynn. That's the next.
Sorry.
Like as you can see, like this is kind of not the greatest UX because in the request you have to provide all of this information on how the tool is structured. So like this is like something that a user defines, right? But we're working on integrating kgateway to configure agent gateway, which is another project Solo has been working on that's also open source, which would allow you to have your MCP server configured by kgateway. So there's no like current plan on like getting agent gateway like integrated with our current like routing APIs. But this would let you, give you an easier way to manage these functions because right now it's like a little messy to define them inline as your like your call. So that's in the works, and I can give a quick sneak preview of that in a bit. Are there any other questions about like other policies that we support, like?
By the way, what observability do we get? I know you showed a bunch of scenarios.
So observability wise, we don't have tracing yet. So that's another great place. Like if people are interested in contributing, that's like something that is like planned, but not currently actively worked on. We do support a lot of tokens. So like if you're rate limiting based on token counts, these metrics are provided for you. And similar things like the model that's being used, the provider model. So all of those are exposed on that metrics endpoint that I showed. But other than that, like there's no we have metrics, but we don't have tracing yet. So that's definitely like a place that we can improve and have more features developed.
Yeah, makes sense. Does anyone else have any questions before Lena move to Agent Gateway, which certainly is a very hot topic too? I think we have a special guest, Jacob. I just want to say hi to you. Thanks for joining. All right, I'm not seeing any questions, Nina. I think people wants to hear more about the Agent Gateway.
Sounds good. So yeah, so Agent Gateway, this is again, like I'll bring up the EP. There's a work in progress like draft enhancement proposal where I kind of go over what the proposed changes are. But this is like currently on a branch that I have in kgateway, so you can check the branch out as well. But it's like there are no like, as we'll see, there's no like API changes. It's just like configuring the agent gateway from kgateway and letting you like use the agent gateway with kgateway in that way. So agent gateway is this new project that lets you use A to A or MCP agents and servers and have like a central way of configuring all of them. So with that, let me pull up the example real quick. So in this case, like you actually, like we're using Kubernetes Gateway APIs. So we have a self-managed gateway. So we're, instead of using like Envoy that the gateway deploys right now, you actually have to set up your own deployment of the agent gateway, and then kgateway will configure it. So this is something that, again, will be automated eventually, but as the first initial like sneak preview, it's all manual and self-managed. So you have to apply this deployment first, but that's, again, something that will probably be automated in the future. And then once you've declared it as self-managed, you need to define a gateway class that selects those gateway parameters, and then your gateway itself. So on the gateway, you can define two listeners, one for like MCP. So all of your MCP servers will be using like this protocol, and then A to A. So this is the part that enables you to configure the agent gateway listeners using the same gateway API gateway as before. So there's no net new API changes. This is just configuring the listeners because the protocols are set that way. So if I apply that config, that's the first thing that we'll do. Like I mentioned, we'll also need to apply the deployment manually because kgateway isn't going to create it right now. So I'll apply that as well. And then if we take a look, you can see that this just started up and there's a nice UI as part of this. So you can port forward the agent gateway UI and we can take a look at what's actually there. So if I go there, so you can see I have two listeners because I defined my gateway with the MCP and the A to A listeners. So those have appeared and like automatically got configured. There's no, if we go back to the deployment, the config that it actually has is very simple. It just exposes the XDS address. So all of that listener config was coming from kgateway discovering the gateway and then configuring the agent gateway. So now that we have our gateway deployed, we can actually create targets that it can use. So the two targets I'm going to show are one's an A2A agent. That's just using a very simple agent that like echoes what you have. So I created this as part of our tests. It's like very simple. It's actually based on the Google example. So all it's going to do is like echo. It like implements on send task, and it will respond with the text that the user inputs. So that's like a very simple example. It's packaged into a Docker container. And again, it's applied here. So like this was built as part of our local build system. So when I apply this, I'll also apply the MCP example. We'll try the GitHub one. And then if I look here, I can have, this is my MCP tool that got created for GitHub. And then this is my A2A agent that got created there. So it's taking a while to pull, but that's okay. If I go back and refresh the UI, now I have two targets, one for default GitHub and one for the A2A. And the UI actually gives you a nice playground to play around with this. So first I have to actually port forward to be able to reach these. So if I go back to here and I do like well, let me kill this port forward actually, because it's the same port. Well, I think actually A2A is 9090, so let's do that one. So if I select the A2A listener, and then I select my agent, I can connect. So it connects, and then I see that there's an available skill to use. So this is the echo tool that we looked at earlier, and it has a message you can put. So you can say like, hi, kgateway community. You can send the task, and then you get the response back. So it received and echoed the hi gateway community. So yeah, so that again, like very early stages, like this is still there's an enhancement proposal in draft PR, but that's kind of the like we have you know, AI gateway features that support function calling and you know, prompt guards, but now having the agent gateway be configured by gateway lets you also use A2A agents and MCP servers, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, super exciting. Does anybody have any questions for Nina? By the way, you actually complete the demo that Eitan was trying to show last week, and he couldn't show it. I think he had some environmental issue, and he told
I did not know
that. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, it's it definitely like there's like things that we want to add in addition is JOT support, TLS support, and policy support. So right now it's only configuring again the listener and the targets. So it's like very basic config, but that's, you know, also places that I'm excited to work on, like having, you know, config that lets you apply those policies, because Agent Gateway like supports that today. We just need to, you know, get the piping right on the kgateway side. So
yeah, makes sense. By the way, can I use the Agent Gateway as ingress and egress in kgateway? Is that part of the plan too?
I'm actually not sure. Like, it's right now it's configuring like the listeners and the targets, right? So like it depends on how you're setting it up. But it's there's no like there's no HTTP routes right now for Agent Gateway. That's like another like enhancement proposal we'll have to do, because the only way you're configuring the listeners are through that like the protocol type, right? So there's no like HTTP route specific for Agent Gateway yet. But yeah, so.
Okay, so right now what you are demo, that's mostly on egress?
Yeah, so like if you like I've exposed like the Agent Gateway by port forwarding on 8080, right, where the A2A listener was, and then it reaches out to the agent in the like so it's not even like I guess it is ingress, right, because it's going
it's more ingress.
through, yeah, but yeah, you could imagine like having like the A2A agent I have is pretty dumb. It just like echoes the response, right? It just testing the protocol. But you can imagine having the agent actually running somewhere else, and then that would be the Agent Gateway would be acting as the egress.
Yes, okay, you're right, because you have it running in your cluster, so it's more ingress at the moment. Yeah. Makes sense. All right, I think we're right on time. I'm not seeing anybody raise hand or anything. Well, I want to give a big shout out to Nina. Thank you for pulling out multiple demos, and it all ran successfully. So great job. And thanks everybody for joining. Appreciate the time. If you all have any cool things to show, reach out to me. We always look for speakers for next week. Thank you all. Bye.